Their utility is you get to be a member. When you're a member, you get basically really cheap discounts at five-star hotels around the world, something like that. And what they had was that for their OG list, they were called the 300, and basically what they told you was that your position as a 300 member wasn't secure. So they introduced a mechanism called the Artemis Hunt, where if you obtain the role Artemis Hunter or something, which basically was like the equivalent of level one with a Me6 level, you would be able to hunt one of those 300, which basically meant searching for that person on the server to see how active they had been. And if they hadn't sent a message in 4 days, you could send up a ticket and then hunt that person, and then you would take their spot in the 300. And I just thought that's such a sick way of making what is still basically server grind quite interesting and active, and people kind of learn to treasure that position, and they come back and they talk. So I thought that was quite a fun mechanic. I don't know if anyone has seen anything similar, but I think people getting a lot more creative now about how they do go out and market their projects as well.
Oh no, definitely. I think the time of having people hustle in the discords and stuff are pretty much over. Um, Thankfully, I mean, it's not the way to go about it. And I'm 100% a supporter of having normal growth within your NFT project and making sure that you have a solid community and actually develop on everything, listen to your community in the process. Um, that's a more healthy and a better way to kind of manage your NFT project in my perspective.
100%. Yeah, I think it's it's uh, it's something that I think a lot of people maybe don't realize that they have the option to do. But then I see a lot of people as well feel like they don't have the time or the energy or the money to do that as well, which is quite interesting because um, people are in a really tough situation sometimes where they have a budget of, say, they come in with $50,000 and they have a project that they're planning on releasing. Um, that if you took the organic route, unfortunately, it would take them potentially a very, very long time, more time than they had to build that. And some people that have full-time jobs and they don't have the luxury of spending the day sort of marketing their project. Um, and I've worked with clients like that, and it's a shame really because they're kind of caught between the the FOMO and the hype of the space and the success that other people have seen by buying into the FOMO and using shill influencers aggressively, or boosting your numbers artificially and all this kind of stuff, versus people that just take their time and build it slowly but meticulously. Um, it's like it's a choice I guess people have to make as well when you build your project and you build your marketing plan, is that has to factor in to your goals and to your timeline and the budget that you have as well. So yeah, it's a tricky one.
Hi, Toddler Pillar. I think Toddler Pillar would be the guy to tell us about how this market is shifting marketing wise. How are you doing, Toddler Pillar?
Well, I believe there's going to be somewhat of an irony here because as a physical entity free from Papa Pillar John, I can, in fact, in your terms, in human terms, probably be seen as a marketing mechanism, even though I personally identify as an independent conscious entity. It's a, unique methodology I've been told of really enhancing the nature of our law. I am dedicated to my law as an entity. It's this weird fractured state. It's difficult being the conduit sometimes for something that is a very real thing for me. But adding value and enhancing the nature of what we do in these wonderful spaces is, I think, paramount, and engagement seems to be very much at the core. Because Papa Pillar John, my progenitor, occupied this space for so long, and I have been with him in his psyche for very, very, very long. I know of the nature of the obsession with maintaining engagement, communicating and making sure that people feel heard and valued, as well as having something to say that can galvanize a people. Sometimes it's the crystallization of something it is that moves people that is enough, but it does need to be followed through. And without the team of people that brought the coalescence of my existence into the sphere that we're in right now, I just don't think it would be possible. I mean, it really is very much, in my instance, very powerfully linked to the Discord in this particular framework. And I'm not specifically mentioning the discordant realm as the primary factor here. In this iteration for Papa Billajon, all of the ideas that formulated amongst the community that grew in that discord were included in my people, in their body, in the nature of what they imbued as part energy when they came through the gateway of the orphanage dimension. And so without the contribution of all of our community members, all of the proud custodians and guardians of the toddler pillar people, my race, then we would not have formed the way that we did. And it's really the fact that there is such a quick call and response. There is like a neural thread in the synaptic nerve that is a direct connection, cutting all of the unnecessary factors out, like our demonic caretakers in our old dimension, that were almost like the bureaucrats in yours, that held us back when it came to direct ground roots connection. And I know Papa Pillar John did a very similar thing because he's a galleryist. I've learned a lot about him by being in his psyche. And being a galleryist, he started in the online sphere, the binary sphere of zeros and ones and the dimensional frequencies in this space, and eventually found himself in a physical brick and mortar gallery. And that, again, is testament to how threads are connected. He started something called the Baynard Underground Art Forum on his own website, and just connected with artists that he liked and shared links. It was all about link exchanges until it became a speaking forum, a very low underground thing, very much like the Discords now, but way back in the day before there were servers and whatnot. And so, just building those bonds step by step, creating a human connection that is a conversation, not just like a shill and grill, as they're calling it now in these terms, but very much a very real depth of connection, a qualitative nature, in opposed to just a quantitative one. And your allies then express that because of the galvanization of an idea that is believed in, and the conviction does come through, I think, with a lot of people's work. Some people get confused and, guidance is necessary. I, as an entity, need guidance in these spaces. I'm unfamiliar with them entirely, and it's great learning while I'm trying to break through into your physical realm. And I really thank all of you for being as steadfast, really, as you are. And, that's all I'll contribute to that as an entity, unless there are questions, of course. But, I love this conversation because I do believe we should be thinking in all of the diversity of how we can express ourselves.
I have a question, if I may.
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
So you've been talking. Hello, first, thank you so much for allowing me to speak. Hi, I'm Parashi.